Hello. So today I want to tell you about the game Antiquity Quest from Grandpa Beck's Games. And this is one of the games that they provided me with at Gen Con. And this game is a fun take on Hand and Foot. And I love this because it plays with fewer players than Hand and Foot, and you don't have to play in teams. There is a variant where you can play in teams, but you don't have to. So this plays 2 to 8 players, which is wonderful because, like I said, Hand and Foot, the way I know it, you always had to have 4. I know there's a variant, I think, with 3, but I like this because it gives you better options. I was trying to remember if it played up to 6 or 8, and it does play up to 8. So players are going to get a player aid that is going to tell them how all of the scoring works so that they know what they are trying to save, and then how all of these special cards work during the game. So you have your player aid, you have a nice score pad, and then you have your cards, because this is a card game. So you will have 10 cards that are going to go into your cache and be set aside and you don't look at, also known as your foot in Hand and Foot. And then you'll have your starting hand of 10 cards. So you're going to look at your cards, and there are a few different types of cards in here. So the colored cards, those are your antiquities, and they are what you are going to try and be making groups of. And the most powerful ones are when you can get a group of antiquities numbered 1 to 5. And there are some wild cards in there that will allow you to substitute in a number. If you can't get all numbers 1 through 5, but you can get 5 of one color, that's still going to score you points, just fewer. Then there are treasures, as you can see, and they come in different colors. The most valuable thing you can get is a set of 5 treasures that are all different colors. That will be the most valuable thing for the entire game. But if you get a set of 5 treasures that have, not all unique colors, you're still going to get a decent amount of points. So essentially you can have, your clean or your dirty, as they're called in Hand and Foot, your collections. So you've got your antiquities and your treasures. You can either get them in the sequential order or the all different colors, or you can get them where they still are a set of 5, but they're not sequential or different colors, and you will still score points. The way that the game ends is you will have completed 5 sets of treasures or antiquities. You can also do a mixed set, which will be 5 cards of treasures and antiquities, and that's going to be worth the fewest amount of points. So once you have completed 5 of those and you have played out all of your cards from your hand and your cache, that will trigger the end of the game. You score up the points and see who wins. That's if you're just playing a 1-round game. If you want more of an experience, you play 3 rounds and then you add your points up from each round, and you see who has the most points. So in addition to those cards, there are also 2 character cards in here. And there are a couple, I think there's 6 and 8 of the 2 different character cards. So that is, we have Tess and we have Remington. So on your turn, you will play cards from your hand down, and you'll draw 2 cards. It's always important. Ooh, 2 wilds, lovely. So in order to start playing in front of you, you need to be able to put down at least 2 cards in a set. 3 cards to start your set. And remember, a set is considered complete when it has 5. So right now, I think I'm going to play 1, 2, 3, essentially is what I'm playing. And that is my turn. So I drew my cards. I played my cards. You don't have to, if you can't or don't want to play anything, you don't have to. And then I need to discard a card. So I will discard this. Play then proceeds to the next person. They do the same thing. They draw 2 cards. They play down as many cards as they can or want to in front of themselves, and then they discard. Now, let's say there's something, let me find a card that I want. Let's say there's something extra juicy in this discard pile. We'll put it like that. So it's not too crazy of a discard pile. Let's say that this is the discard pile at this point, and I really, really want this. I have to have already played something down, otherwise you cannot pick up from the discard pile. I then have to play a Remington card. So I still draw excuse me. So I have to draw 2 cards. My bad. Then I can pick up this card and I must immediately place it down. And I have to pick up the rest of the discard pile. So if there's a ton of cards in the discard pile, that could be beneficial because maybe it's going to let me complete a lot of things. Maybe it's not. I also can play this out here now. So I'm getting really close to that being a complete set. And then I would discard as normal. So I made a mistake. Let me now explain Remington and Tess. So on my turn, if I want to play Remington, I discard him over here, and that lets me draw an additional 2 cards. So that can be really helpful if I'm close to something, but not quite there yet. The other option is, let's say this discard pile is getting really big and there's some really good stuff in there that I don't want someone else to get. I can play Tess on top of there and she takes everything away and the discard pile is now clear. So that can be beneficial because maybe there's going to be cards out there again, but I didn't want to pick up like 10 cards. Or maybe I knew there was a lot of good things in there and I prevented someone else from getting that. So when you are able to finish one of your sets, let's pretend like I'm able to do that. We'll do it with a 4. So not great because it wasn't a perfect set. I just set it up top and we keep going. Now, the other option you have is you can play one of your cards onto an opponent's set. This is important because if you notice they're getting very close to having something really good and perfect, you maybe want to prevent that for them. So let's say I had this going on and all I need is that 5. Somebody else could come in here and play that 4. And now I don't have that perfect set. So you can also play on your opponents or your rivals in order to stymie them from getting what they need. I also, maybe let's just say I'm just down to 1 card before I can get into my cache and somebody has something out there, I can play that. That way I get onto my new card. So there's several reasons why you may want to play onto someone else. But they're not really nice reasons. Like, you're never doing it to be like, oh, hey, this would totally help you score more points. So there you go. You're definitely doing it to help them score less points or to benefit yourself in some way. Now, if you're playing in teams, that's a different story. Like I said, there is a team variant, but no, you're doing it to be mean. So just know that in this game, there is some sabotage because the world of antiquities is cutthroat. You need to know that. So as I said, once you have completed 5 sets, 5 collections of antiquities, treasures, or mixed collection, and you have either played onto yourself your final card or you have discarded out your final card, that will trigger the end of the game. Everyone gets their final turn and then you score up the points. So if you're playing the single round, points are added up, game over. If you're playing the 3-round version, which is what I prefer, then you're going to deal on to the next round if this is round 1 or 2, or if it's round 3, total final scores. And the score pad is set up to accommodate a 3-round game. So for people out there who like hand and foot, this is a fun take on it. It's a little bit more approachable because you can play it with different player counts far more easily. You don't have to play in teams and you can play with as few as 2 players. So I really enjoy this. I think once again, Grandpa Bex has done a great job of taking a familiar gaming system and adapting it. I think the artwork is really fun. I like the 2 character abilities. Oh, and don't get stuck with those characters in your hand at the end of the game because they will lose you a lot of points. So play them strategically. I think this is a fun game. What's your favorite Grandpa Bex game? Give me a like and a follow and I'll keep bringing you more board game content. Thanks. Bye.